How are y'all? How is everyone doing tonight? How are we feeling?
A solid 10 out of 10.
Phenomenal.
How are you feeling?
Just Willow? I'm feeling high. I asked you a question so I could take another hit. Ow.
Smoke the toke. Keef the reef.
I think it was take a fat dab of a blunt. Okay. So, hello everyone. My name's Caroline, and this is my favorite game, Night in the Woods. So, this game is very, very special to me, and I want to give you the background of why. I first played this game, the first time I ever played it was right after I got out of high school. And it was when I was starting to show symptoms but hadn't yet realized that I had a mental illness. And I felt at times so like, for background, I had bipolar disorder. And at times I felt so like interconnected and like very much like my world is like a big one and I'm an active part in it, and then other times I would just feel so insignificant. And I think that's why this game really spoke to me. This is a fun game. We're just gonna go ahead and start it. You guys are officially beginning my fall playthrough with me because I play this game through every fall because it takes place in the fall and it's beautiful. So we're gonna do this part together. So the year Granddad died, we're writing a poem together. We can write the highway extension came. We had the worst flood since 1998. What are we feeling?
I like the flood.
The flood, awesome. Greg got trapped on top of a doghouse. The power was out for 2 days. Casey Hartley came by in his dad's boat and I laughed when I saw him. Granddad left me an apple crate of books. He loved ghost stories and quoted them to himself in the hospital bed. Option 1, option 2, option 3. Why don't I just do this?
No, I'm like,
Or are we
I'm
good?
debating it. Like, I'm debating it in my head.
You don't debate poetry, you feel it.
Shut up.
Yeah, don't let Connor.
Hey,
Connor's
I'm on
it.
Colin's side. Gut check. Soul read.
I'm feeling either they feared death or they went looking for their gods. For the gods.
Colin gets to choose.
I've been all aboard the gods train since day one, baby.
Phenomenal. It's a big theme in this game. They went looking for the gods. And quoted them to himself in the hospital bed. They went looking for the gods and died in lonely places. On his last day, he sat up suddenly and stared bug-eyed through the window. Sam?
Let's go
What are
with
you
at the old train. At the old trains.
On his last day, he sat up suddenly and stared bug-eyed through the window at the old trains, rattling to somewhere else from somewhere else. He turned to my dad, eyes still wide. "This house is haunted," he said, and died. Anyway, so this is a really good game. It talks a lot about religions and gods and ghosts, and we'll get into that later. But this right here is May. May, as we will later find out, sorry, I don't like talking over the text. May, as we will later find out, is a new college dropout coming home for the first time since they left. This is a very cool guy in the game. He's kind of like Deus Ex Machina. He kind of just shows up whenever. This is the janitor, and we'll talk more about him later too. But God, I feel bad. I just keep saying we'll talk more about this later.
You're chilling.
Caroline's
Just gets me
intent
excited
is
to talk about stuff later.
Caroline's intent is to play through the
Agreed.
entire game tonight.
I'm not. I promise I'm not. We're just gonna make it like 2/3 of the way done. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
That would be really impressive.
We're gonna play 4/3 of the game tonight.
Absolutely. All right. So May's asking the janitor when he thinks it's gonna be done, and he's asking for a Coke. Basically, what's going on here is May just got back from college, and their parents were gonna pick them up, or her parents were gonna pick her up, and they forgot. So what May does now is finds a way out, and then so this is cool because right in the beginning the game is teaching you about its mechanics and how to like interact with things. And this is one of the cool things about the game. So you know how I said the game plays with significance and insignificance? A big like part of that is the way that you interact with the game. So like you get to do these small things, like these interactions, like in that little cutscene I grabbed a soda, but that was really my only choice. And so I did something, but did it matter what I did? So that kind of idea of you do one specific thing. So this game has very interesting mechanics, and not mechanics, but a very interesting way of telling this story through how the game works. And that is that in most games you go left to right. Colin kind of talked about this when he talked about Hollow Knight, in that if you go left first, you like get a little reward for thinking outside the box. Yes, we all remember that?
I do.
Oh, I definitely do.
I feel like I've been talking for 8 years already.
Honestly, that's just like the general vibe you get during these things. You're like, man, I need to shut up. How long has it been? Oh, 4 minutes? Cool.
Let us know if you want any audience participation.
I literally interject whenever you want. I want this to be a discussion. But so, a cool thing about this game is May's dropped out of college and has gone back to their rinky-dink little backwoods hometown, right? The hometown is kind of living in... The people in the hometown are kind of living in the past in a lot of ways. And we are going to talk about that more later. I'm sorry I keep saying that. But May, in a way, is going back to their past. So they're going back home. They're regressing. In their eyes, it very much seems to them that they're taking a step backwards. And in the way that we go from right to left, in the way that left to right is usually like how people think of time, especially in like the Western world. So like, for example, when you see a timeline drawn out, it always goes left to right. So when we go right to left, it's kind of like enhancing that feeling of being like, I'm going backwards right now. And I think that's cool.
Yeah, I really like that subtle thematic imagery.
Yeah.
You said going backwards, and the mental image in my head was, oh, May goes back to college.
No. No, not quite.
I was gonna ask, is the aspect of May leaving college, like, I don't imagine that's like a secret or anything, but like,
No.
how long does that take before the game kind of reveals to you like the premise of what's going on? Like, how much is revealed to you over time, or how much is just like you get the kind of gist of what's going on, and then it's just kind of figuring out your personality, your own story, your own progression versus regression?
I am so glad that you asked, because this is one of the few talking points I have written down. And the like kind of for now answer is that the game does a really phenomenal job of not saying May dropped out of college and here's why. May dropped out of college because XYZ. It shows you through other people kind of how May is feeling about themselves dropping out of college, and shows through May's discussions with other people like why they dropped out in
Gotcha.
a way that seems very like real, because of course there are like a lot of things, especially because this game deals a lot with mental health, a lot of ways that oh my god, I completely lost my train of thought.
No, you're good. I get the gist of what you're going for.
Okay, great. Yeah. Oh, yeah, anyway, it says it in a very realistic way of it's not someone coming onto the screen like if there were someone who were like, I am depressed, they wouldn't come on and be like,
I bet you're
dropped out of
wondering
school
how I
because
ended up
am
in
depressed."
this situation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more just like the little things they say that kind of give hints of where they're at without giving too much away. Okay, so we're at the jungle gym part. This jungle gym is from May's childhood, and it's kind of an introduction to a lot of the like mechanics of the game, like jumping on things, interacting with things, which is cool. But would you believe me if I told you it's also a metaphor? Like everything in this game is. I think I've mentioned like 3 metaphors so far. But so May, you'll see a little later on, but one of the cool things about this game is that there are power lines and you can jump on them. And most players, I would venture to say, once they find that out, never touch ground again. And I'm one of them. I'm always jumping on those power lines, but there are these little nods to the game, in the game rather, about how May is regressing and honestly kind of childish, kind of immature. And this is one of them, the power lines, and this May treats like life kind of like a jungle gym. You know what I mean? Like they are just seeing the world in a not necessarily better and definitely less socially accepted way, but the way that they see it is the way that they see it. So here's one of those hints that we get about where May's at mentally. They dissociate very easily, and they have a very hard time kind of keeping reality straight. So they start keeping a journal of my journal button. They start keeping a journal to help them ground themselves in reality. Anyway, yeah. Power line jumps. Tell me you don't want to do this. Tell me you don't want to be the one controlling this right now.
I'm honestly kind of jealous watching it right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. Any questions so far? Comments, concerns?
Comment. I really want to be the one juggling that.
Phenomenal. I've done my job. We can go. So yeah, I'm gonna let this scene kind of speak for itself. May says, "Hey, remember me?" And her dad says, "Ah, May, you gave me a heart attack. Good. What are you doing?" I feel weird narrating this. Okay, I'll just let you guys read it. Just to make it a little extra clear, in the game, May uses she, her pronouns, but one time when I was younger, someone told me that May was confirmed non-binary and used they them pronouns, which I later played the game again and I was like, no, that's not true at all. But anyway, so I slip between she they pronouns. But you don't have to. So we get another little journal entry trying to ground herself in reality. Oh right, just dad.
Does that journal pop up automatically, or does it give you like a button prompt when something new
It gives you a button prompt.
Okay, I thought I saw that, but yeah.
Yeah, you never have to read the journal if you don't want. But there are these little interactables in May's home that are not interacting with me because it's my first night back. But obligatory blocked off room that you get to discover later.
Oh, so it's like a video game.
It's like a video game. So I'm gonna go ahead and sleep and hope that something happens. And if it doesn't, we have to make it to night 2. Sorry.
So, how long would you say this game is overall? I checked because I was interested in picking it up. I checked howlongtobeat.com and it said like about 9 hours. Would you say that's probably accurate?
I would say if you're doing kind of like the bare minimum in the game, maybe like 6 or 7.
Mhm.
And if you are like, I explore everything, maybe 20.
Okay, that's a good
Yeah.
range.
It's
For
a
sure.
lot of side content, it sounds like.
It's more like a lot of people you can interact with. So the main, kind of point of play in this game, I guess, the main thing you do is you interact with people in town. The more you interact with them, the more you know about them, and I think that's really interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, there are more and more people you can interact with every day. So, and more things you can do and more ways you can enjoy, like the little hangouts that you go on. I'll explain that more later. We'll get to see one. This is May's mom. She works at the local church, which is very important because May later becomes involved with that church in a way. But we'll talk more about that later. I'm gonna kill myself.
Will we, Caroline?
We will. We will, I promise. It's on my list. My list is actually 3 pages long, and I didn't realize that. I thought I wrote the shortest little list.
Oh boy.
Oh my god, we're in for it. I'm sorry, gang. What?
Apologizing, it's fine.
It'd be that way.
I have
I'm
plenty of hard Mountain Dew. Like I'm prepared.
Phenomenal. Okay, so basically this is May talking to her mom, and her mom's like kind of upset that she's back, you know what I mean? But happy that May will be able to find some solace, hopefully, in her friends from high school. One of whom is Greg, who is a fox, a lovely fox. We love Greg. And there are kind of 3 main characters outside of B and her parents, and that is Greg and B are both friends from that May knew in high school, and Angus, who's May's not as close with, but is dating Greg. Now, they are all still friends since May left, but May's absence has been noted. And they will talk about that when we go see them. While we are kind of adventuring and I'm kind of showing you around the town, I wanted to like talk kind of about how other games are like begin and how this game begins are very different. So a lot of other games like Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, what are games that are not farming games? Undertale,
Hollow Knight.
Souls games, yeah, Hollow Knight. A lot of those, most games, I would venture to say, start, like, when, like, a lot of games, maybe not most, start when like, the character is kind of at their lowest, in a way. So, like, Animal Crossing doesn't start after you like get out of jail or anything, but like it does start
You're flat broke.
Yeah, you're flat broke. You're in debt to a fucking raccoon.
The mob.
That's-
What?
That's worse than that. Honestly,
Yeah.
worse than being broke is being in debt.
To a raccoon, no less.
To a raccoon, no less, on a deserted island, where the only help that you really get building any form of infrastructure is sometimes your villagers sweep and water 2 or 3 flowers before they get tired and nap under a tree. But I digress. So a lot of the characters in those games, they're like in Animal Crossing, they're in debt, whatever. Like in Undertale, Fritz has like fallen. They haven't failed. They just kind of are where they are. And it's not that they haven't, it's not that they failed, it's that they haven't succeeded yet. It's like a certainty that you're gonna get better and that you're gonna like move forward. Like even like, I guess like Breath of the Wild is a really good example that like the game is explicitly about redemption, and like Link's whole purpose is to like redeem himself, and like he's gonna get stronger and he's gonna be fucking Ganondorf or whatever his fucking name is.
Calamity Ganon.
Calamity Ganon. Phenomenal. I knew that name. You didn't need to say anything.
Can't believe I didn't mention how dumb that name is in my review.
But yeah, so Night in the Woods is different from that, in that May starts at rock bottom. With like, I don't know, with like no real place that they're definitely going. Like May doesn't have a plan to like become the most popular person in town and rebuild Possum Springs from the ground up. Like you're not working towards anything. And I find that concept so intriguing. Yeah.
I think it's really interesting just seeing it so far, and like you describing it as May starting from rock bottom, where like it's a very realistic approach on that, because it doesn't, like at first glance, just like seeing her interactions with people, the way she talks and the way she thinks about like the stuff she interacts with, none of it like hits you as like, you know, a character's like darkest hour or anything, you know, like
Exactly.
like nobody, you don't like see like May's best friend get like shot as she cradles his body and cries over it. Like it's nothing like that. She's just like, yeah, you know, cool, life's going on. And like that's kind of how it is sometimes in your rock bottom. Like you put on a brave face and just like push through it.
Yeah, exactly. I really like that take on it. In a lot of ways, May's rock bottom is like not as much like the literalness of it, of like you're hitting the bottom of a deep dark pit. It's more like when you like fall into like a body of water and you're disoriented and like you don't know which way is up, and so you're not sure which way to swim, and you're not sure if it's even worth trying, because what if you just go lower? What if you just get further from the surface? And like you want to trust that you'll float to the top, but you don't know if you will. Like that's a bit more what like this particular rock bottom is like.
At the risk of making a pun, deep.
Phenomenal.
Vote to remove Colin from the audience.
Yeah, not phenomenal. Not phenomenal.
You're a mod. You don't even need a vote.
Yeah, you have that power. But I'm recording. I'm streaming here.
Really short video on youtube.com/.
Go watch Night in the Woods. Leave a comment, like, subscribe.
I do want to mention, and I guess it's to continue off what you guys already talked about, but it really is kind of calming in a sense, in like an oddly eerie way. Like just how peaceful it is, considering you starting from rock bottom. And I think you guys touched on like the feeling of it, but it certainly does feel more grounded.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not very dramatic, it's very realistic. This is Greg. Greg is the cutest motherfucker in existence. We love Greg.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Greg.
Thank you. That made me happy.
Greg is at the first mention at someone named Angus. goes and puts on what looks like a leather coat.
Oh, Greg already had that on. He just had a
Okay, he was
little.
just behind the counter.
Yeah. Can you guys hear this sound effect?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all good on that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear the footsteps? We're all good.
It's a bit quiet, but I think it should be fine.
We're about to play a song, so
Are they in a band together?
they are in a band. They were in a band together in high school, and Angus and B, spoiler alert, and Greg still kind of hang out and do it sometimes.
I have a question.
This is B. She's a baddie. What's up?
Okay, that was my question. My question was: is this a bear named Angus?
This is a bear named Angus. Is there something weird about that?
No,
I
just
think we all
clarifying.
just expected a cow.
Phenomenal.
Like it was so on the nose.
Like
that,
no one
I
else has
had-
been a pun, but
Yeah, like it was so on the nose, but Greg is just Greg that I was just like, is Angus going to be a cow?
Better be. It's a
Phenomenal.
shame.
This seems like a good time to get another drink.
This seems like a good time to take a few more hits. Because I'm not good at this game.
You're doing great.
I
Alright.
mean the game we're about to play, the mini game. But thank you, Willow.
Oh, so yes, weed will with if it's a rhythm game, definitely.
I've never had
Phenomenal.
a moment where weed didn't help my rhythm.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe it's like a performance enhancing drug. Maybe I'll like feel the music.
Oh, I was being sarcastic, but good to know.
I am going to get more water because my mouth is dry as fuck. Also, the stream's back up
Oh,
while you
God.
guys talk.
No, go
One,
for it.
1, 3.
Also, hi, August.
Hi, Willow.
So, you guys want to hear my review of Hard Mountain Dew? Which is just this. Hold up.
Hold on, I'm vibing right now.
I was going to say the tab pop on when you open up a Hard Mountain Dew sucks. I don't know how else to explain it.
This is good.
The chaotic rumbling when you miss a note is terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like a snowball effect. If you mess up one note, the screen
Like-
just shakes violently, and it's harder to get the rest of them right.
I'm concentrating so hard right now.
You're doing great.
I
Wow,
don't
these-
have
these
like
lyrics-
a number pad, so this is really hard.
These lyrics definitely aren't relevant to the story whatsoever.
I'm literally using 4 fingers right now.
Wait, what device is this on?
My computer.
I love the idea of like you fail the song and they're just like, "Damn, mate, you suck. Leave town," and the game ends.
Die anywhere else, and then credits roll.
Why didn't I remember this game when I said I would do this high? I'm
I
so
like how-
sorry.
I liked how they would physically recoil at the most minor mistake.
That was What you mean by
Pretty bad.
Oh.
Christ.
I literally do not know this song.
Okay. So we've met. some of May's friends. And I'm gonna tell you a little more about them, which is okay, August, just to catch you up. These are May's friends. May has dropped out of college, and that's where we're starting. We talked about that in length. These are May's friends. Left to right is May, Greg, Angus, B. Angus and Greg are dating, and they're very cute, and I love them. B is a baddie.
Look. Okay. Do the rest of them matter? Or have we not got there yet?
What?
So it was more than just those three, right? People.
What?
So you listed off more friends than just Angus and the other names that I have heard and forgotten already.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
There are more people in this game. These are just like the main three.
Okay, cool. I am not looking at your screen right now, so I couldn't tell if there was only three. I'm driving.
There's also
There's
the main
also
character.
May,
The main
who's
character.
the protagonist.
Okay, so there's four. Okay, that makes sense now. Never mind. I was just mistaken.
You're good. Are you driving?
I was. I'm not anymore.
Bitch!
Are you
Sorry,
drinking?
I forgot this started. Not while driving.
No, I love it. Get home safe, damn.
I'm already home.
So right now they're talking about May's old friend from high school, Casey. It's kind of assumed that Casey ran away. His parents weren't great, but yeah, he hasn't been seen in a really long time. That was B roasting May by saying, what happened to school? And May was like, didn't work out. And B was like, what a shocker. Which...
Damn.
IB, you're smoking a cigarette. Who's making poor life choices?
Do they know each other like that? Like,
Were they
like
close friends?
Greg and May know each other like that. I don't get that vibe from B.
B and May used to be a lot closer than they are now. So this is a great transition into my next bullet point, which is that as this game goes on, May's like friends and family all get really like frustrated with her when she doesn't like figure stuff out, when she doesn't like that analogy earlier of like not knowing like where you are in the water, when May doesn't reorient herself, honestly can't even figure out how to try to, like everyone starts to get really frustrated with her, and B is one of those people. Her parents, B, Angus, Greg, they've all got their own reasons for being kind of like confused about this. Anyway, so what we're seeing right now is a severed arm in the road.
I was gonna. That was my next question.
Oh,
Jesus.
let's poke it with a stick. Honestly, mood.
Guess who it is? Aunt Mall Cop. August, May has already said fuck the police. And this is May's
yeah.
Aunt Molly.
Hell yeah.
Okay, this is a very important scene between May and B.
Okay, so like, I don't want to interrupt said scene, but
What's up?
I have a question. Is it intentional? Is it thematic that these two sitting together in this orientation put their names together and it's the word maybe?
Oh,
I've
okay.
never thought of it that way.
I feel like I'm reading far too much into it, but it just came to mind.
Oh, they're gonna ask
That's
about whether.
interesting. That's an interesting question. I think they're oriented this way because B's the one with a car, but go off, Kate.
Well, yeah, okay, sure, but
It stands for maybe in another life.
I was just wondering if like May just kind of looks sideways all the time.
You mean B?
What?
Oh, B. Sorry, just mixed the two up.
Yeah,
Right.
you don't see the front. Like, you never see B facing forward.
It's a Simpsons situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I was
Oh, I think I missed.
gonna say,
I think I missed a critical
yes.
line there. I feel like I missed a critical line there.
So what basically just happened was May was asking about B and B's family and said, "How are they doing?" And B was like, "They." And May was like, "Your parents." And B kind of stopped the car and was like, "I think it's time for you to leave."
Yeah.
Fuck, how do I? Yeah. So, as you can see at night, May's mom is never here. She goes to bed early because she wakes up early to go to work at the church. We will go visit her tomorrow. And May's dad has always just gotten off work. Okay. So, I'm sorry. I had to scroll to my May's parents section. So, some May's parents, I said earlier, like a lot of May's other friends, in a way, find it kind of like almost offensive. I don't know that that's the right word that May is back in town. For example, you find out that May's parents took out a lot of loans for May to be able to go to school, and now it's kind of like wasted in a way. You can also play guitar at night, but I'm not going to make you sit through that. And even though like May did her best and tried her hardest, that fact can coexist with the fact that May's parents did a lot for them, and it didn't work out. So yeah. Just interesting. They kind of repeatedly through the game ask May for an explanation, but she doesn't really have like a neat one, like not like a simple one that she can just give them, which is kind of what they want. But yeah, this fuck. I thought they were gonna do it that night. We gotta make it to night 3, boys.
I told you we're playing through this game one session.
Yeah.
How many, if that's just a number you have off the top of your head, how many like days are there in the game?
How many what?
Like how many days? Like
No idea off the top of my
Okay.
head. I would say maybe like between 10 and 15. Maybe between 8 and 14.
okay.
So, another big theme that this game has that I haven't mentioned yet is that even this man, a few other older characters throughout the game, and some of like the town's past are shown with like a lot of empathy in a way. Like, even though this man is not being nice to May, she's hearing him out and she's like listening to him and all that. Even though she's like fucking sassy, or whatever. But I think that's like a really important part of this game is that this town, its way of life is kind of obsolete. And some of the people here are obsolete, but this game shows a lot of empathy for the obsolete. I've said obsolete 18 times in the past 5 seconds. This is Selmers. We love Selmers. Yeah, Selmers
Yay, Selmers.
is cool as fuck. They write poetry. And it's a really cool path because, and this is only a little bit of a spoiler, but the more you talk to Selmers, the more you kind of encourage them to like do things that they love, like poetry, and you get to be like, yeah, I like that poem, or like, I think you should keep working on it. And eventually, if you encourage them enough, you get to see them perform their poetry for an audience. And that's just one of the ways that, like, even though May thinks that she's like very insignificant in the grand scheme of things, she's significant to a lot of people in this town. like her impact on their life is. Sorry, I'm trying to find the fucking rats. Because I know you guys will like the rats.
I don't know how I'll feel about the rat. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I think you'll love the rats.
Is that
So-
the rats?
That's a squirrel.
The fuck?
That's not a
Oh,
squirrel.
sorry. I thought you meant the squirrel that ran by. No, that person is a
No,
rat.
The giant bipedal rat is what I was referring to.
How does everyone feel about rats in general?
I think they get a bad rep.
No, I'm tired of whatever's in my attic. I'm tired
Yeah.
of walking down the street and hurry away. I'm tired of fighting over them in the garbage. I'm done.
I've heard
No sympathy.
I've heard
I
rats
sense
make
it might
good,
be personal for Willow.
I
I'm
hear
sorry.
rats can make good pets, but otherwise not a fan.
Yeah. I mean, I associate them with mice, and I had a near colony of mice in my basement at one point, and I had to kill them all. So, I'm
Mm.
not
Okay,
a
Sam.
fan.
You're an
I'm sorry.
imperialist.
Yes, I have become what I swore to
Colonizer.
destroy. I have become the very thing I swore to destroy.
I had rats also. I mean, not mice, but rats in my house when I was young. It's not fun.
Is not. They shit everywhere.
It's so bad.
I had a cat named Precious, and she would bring dead ones to us all the time.
Wow.
That's so precious.
A citizen hero.
Yeah, she did that for like 17 years. Go her.
Man. No retirement for Precious?
The end of Precious's story is very sad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She was like a farm kitty, and she jumped on to a trailer and then jumped off in the middle of the only intersection in town and was hit by a car.
Oh,
Sad days, sad days. But you don't need to be sorry. It's just a thing that happens. You didn't know.
very impressive for a farm cat to make it to 17.
Yeah, and like she sad how she went out. She did go out with a bang. Like she was on that trailer a long time. Because my house is not close to the only intersection. It's like 5 to 10 minute drive. Like a 55-mile-an-hour road. So I'm surprised that the whole situation was weird. But anyway, sorry, that was depressing.
There's something I really want to show you guys, but yeah, I'll go ahead and show you. So we're gonna pause for a second where we are, which is in front of this mural here. One of the like really important things about this town's history is that it's a mining town. Yeah, and so basically with like industrialization and everything, this town kind of got left behind. I'm sorry, I'm gonna hit my vape a few more times.
Yeah, sorry.
Buzz it up.
I know you want someone to go like drink for drink, like hit for hit with you. I've just been drinking.
No, I love that for you.
Hey, I'll go hit for hit. I just finished packing.
I'm up to like 9.
Oh my god.
Fine.
Oh god.
I'll hit a lot at once. All right.
Dude,
I
do
don't-
a whole bowl for me.
Okay, I'll do a whole bowl.
I don't know why I said "oh my god" as if I've smoked before and I have any frame of reference for what that is.
That's not a lot if you're a regular smoker, but like I said, this is
You don't smoke.
I don't
Awesome.
smoke weed anymore.
Yeah.
It also
Um,
depends on how you're smoking.
Okay. It sure does. Which I'm vaping, just so you know. There is an important woman. Her name is Rosa. And she's not really important in the grand scheme of the game, but when you meet her, oh, this is Rosa!
Hi, Rosa.
Hello, Rosa.
So basically, this is really important. This is Rosa saying she used to know May's grandfather. and she's talking about how some things don't change. I'm here most days. I'll tell you all about your grandfather, things you might not know. She calls you curious, which is lovely. But you get to see Rosa pretty much every day if you come down. And Rosa tells you a lot of stories. And one of the stories she tells you about is the miners. And she kind of tells you all about the miners and how they are these blue collar, like, hard workers who kind of became obsolete eventually. We just went over that. I'm too fucking high for this. But she talks about how basically how the world's like always changing. And like she talks a little bit, and a lot of the older folks in this town talk about the younger people leaving this town. And they are, a lot of the older people will say like, oh, well, they lost sight of like what mattered to like family or like mining and like making a town that can prosper. But like people didn't leave ultimately because and including May's one of them, didn't leave because they like lost like sight of those values. It's because the world like was changing and Possum Springs wasn't, right? So like the world like basically moved on without Possum Springs, like left it in the dust. And in that same way that the world moved on without Possum Springs like moved on without May while May was gone at college. And that's such an interesting parallel to draw, I think, because like look at these miners on the wall. They're like these massive murals. They're like basically deified. Like this is like a fucking fresco you would see in like a like church, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like these are like this town's like legends, and the kind of obsoleteness of the miners and like kind of how the miners phased out is very similar in the way this game they talk about how religion has kind of phased out of this town. And one of the interesting things that Rosa talks to May about, and I think I have a quote in here somewhere about it. Rosa has a quote that is, back in the day there were two places that brought people together, the church and the union. And like I said before, May's mom works at the church and you get to go visit her, and they talk about religion in a very interesting way. May is not a believer and May's family is, and it's never really argued who's right. What is discussed more is that and you get to talk to the pastor a lot, and they kind of talk about how to them church is more of a community. The pastor in this game in particular, May eventually discusses God with the pastor and basically says, is this what God is? And the pastor says, I don't know. And May's like, how can you not know? You're a fucking pastor. And the pastor says, well, to me, do I believe? Yes. Do I have all the answers? No. I think it's more important to have goodness in your heart and to help people than it is to be right. And it goes on to talk about how a lot of people focus more today on what is right rather than what is good. And that's why the pastor thinks that people have left the church. Which is very similar to why a lot of the older generation think that the kids are leaving Possum Springs, because they think that they have kind of lost sight of what's important. And I always think that's a fun little parallel. This game focuses heavily on belief and very heavily on the past. And I think that the way they tie those two things together is kind of beautiful. I think I have another quote in here. Yes, I do. I found it. Okay, so there's another character who we will try to find named Mr. Chazakov. Mr. Chazakov. Let's go. Let's go, May. Let's go. I'm sorry I'm bad at this game. I haven't played in forever. A year
That's
to be
okay.
exact.
Dude sounds like a badass, I'll be honest.
Chazakov?
Yeah.
If
I
I
don't
could
know why. That's just the vibe I'm getting from that name.
I don't know why I can't get up on any of these fucking roofs. Bitch, I swear to fucking God. Yes! Oh my god! Anyway, he's not up here right now. Mr. Chazikov hangs up on top of this roof. And he looks at the stars, and you can find constellations with him, and I'll tell you about constellations. One of the constellations he tells you about is someone named Sterling the Seer. And he was like basically like a fortune teller or like a sage for this king, and then a king met the king, like, so this dude was like a seer in like the old way of like Delphi, you know what I mean, of like predicting the future through faith. And the king met a new seer who knew more about the natural world and used like star charts and this and that to like determine like best outcomes for things, and the king fired Sterling. So May is talking to Mr. Chazikov about Sterling, and basically says that it's like inevitable that Sterling got fired because like he wasn't as good at his job as the other guy. The other guy knew the truth and Sterling didn't. And Mr. Chazikov chooses not to focus on the truth and focuses more on the result, if that makes sense. He asks May, so you think some people should go hungry and without homes once they're no longer useful to those in power? That's the quote. And it's an interesting quote because it makes May reflect, because May in a lot of ways not necessarily is, but kind of sees himself as being useless. So like when the story of Sterling is told in like one way, it kind of seems like Sterling like getting canned by the big boss was like cool and good because that meant that science won. But when you tell it in another way, it kind of reminds you of the miners who got fired just because of the Industrial Revolution. And we have a lot of like empathy for those miners, so why don't we have that for Sterling? Like, why don't we apply why is the like anyway, why is that the exception basically? God, I'm lost. But yeah, it kind of like the discussion of who's useless and who's been discarded. So like the miners and Sterling, but like May and Possum Springs also have in a way been discarded for being obsolete. Like no one in Possum Springs, like they all talk about how they can't find jobs. No one's really in Possum Springs is really important to like the economy outside of Possum Springs. So like even though the miners and Sterling were both like very skilled and knowledgeable at like what they did, that didn't save them. Just because the world around them didn't recognize like their worth didn't mean that they were worthless. And like May isn't really skilled or knowledgeable in a way that makes her like useful to Possum Springs or like made her useful in college, but that doesn't mean that she's worthless, because no one's ever really like worthless. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Did that make any sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Any questions or comments?
For being high, you're doing a very good job
Thank you.
at like explaining the lore of this game.
That's so sweet.
Especially the reasoning that like the in-depth reasoning you have behind like May's perception of the world, or like where May's head is at is like very helpful.
Right on. I'm glad you're liking it.
I see a lot of the town I grew up in this place. Like it wasn't a mining town or anything like that, but
Yeah.
it just very small town, very like a lot of my classmates left.
And I think that's why this appealed to me too, because August and I are from a really small town, and May getting out of this town and somehow squandering it was like a really big fear of mine. Not May specifically, but like that happening to me.
Same.
I really like that all the stuff you've talked about so far is significantly thematic, and it's not just like different aspects of the same one thing. Because I feel like a lot of games that like take this approach at like having this kind of narrative or just like trying to tell this kind of relatable, more like grounded story as opposed to being like some fantastical fantasy adventure. I feel like a lot of them, for me personally, don't quite hit the mark because they hit on like one thing that like I can't really relate to. Like I really loved playing Celeste, but I didn't really connect as well in Celeste with like the background theme of that game and like overcoming struggles and identity and mental health like that. Because like while I do have some mental health issues, it's not quite to the same degree, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And I think that this game, like just from the way that we've been talking about it, has had many different aspects open to it, like talking about the small town aspect, or you know, feeling like you're not living up to your potential, or this could be accessible to, or not accessible, but appealing to people who are in May's shoes, have dropped out of college and are returning to a small town, or people who are, you know, looking for a job and it's not coming their way, or they're just not getting like that stroke of luck. Like I like how this game already, from what I've seen, is branching out into many aspects that fuel into this one character as kind of like a channel for those aspects.
Absolutely. And it's, I think, really interesting in the way that they made a game with no real like it's all dialogue, right? But they've made a character that is so real and multifaceted and exactly what you were talking about, and that's what I think is like so like it shows their skill, like the dev skill, a lot. Also, before you play this game, don't look into the devs. Anyway, what's up, Jeff?
Speaking of grounded,
no one bad is getting your money. That's what I'll say, but it's like a depressing story.
Okay.
Speaking of grounded story, what a bitch ass doorknob. Like,
truly.
Ringer. Like, you got electrocuted like 3 times or something stupid.
Anyway, this is May asking Angus to get the porn off her computer. So when I said earlier that it was like kind of offensive to some people that May is back, Angus is obviously one of them. Angus, so like Greg, who is Angus's boyfriend, wants to like move away with Angus, and he's not resentful that May is back, but he is like, they talk about this more in depth, but he kind of struggles to move forward while May is regressing, because it kind of pulls him back in too. Angus kind of resents May because Angus has like a unfavorable history with this town. His family has passed, and he kind of resents May for making Greg like regress with her, and he thinks that she, like, he wants her to grow up, but like more than May needing to grow up, he wants Greg to keep growing up. He doesn't want Greg to fall back into his old ways in the way that May has. But yeah. B kind of resents May because, like, you find out a lot about May's backstory that I think is important to find out, or about B's backstory that I think it's important to find out from B. But basically, May, in B's eyes, because B, you can never really know what someone else is going through, B sees that May had this phenomenal opportunity and squandered it, and is just filled with so much anger about it. And yeah, I wrote down a lot about that, but I don't want to say any of it because I really don't want to spoil this game for you. And that is like spoilers. But anyway, yeah, the real fun part of this game, so like the beginning of like, we're not going to talk to Dad tonight. The beginning of like the kind of central like mystery of the game is okay. The beginning of the kind of central mystery of the game starts in May's dreams, and I can't remember which night it starts on, which is why we're on day 3, and B on Halloween night. So on Halloween night, May witnesses something that, I'm sorry, I keep fucking up their names. May witnesses something, and because people kind of see May as a kid, she has a tough time getting them to believe her, and in a way has a tough time believing herself because other people aren't believing her, basically.
Is Angus the killer who created the severed arm?
No, why?
I don't know. It just feels like something with the severed arm comes back into play.
Oh yeah, it sure does. This is a mystery game.
Gotcha.
I love the idea of like them introducing a severed arm and never mentioning it again.
Yeah.
I'm playing a murder mystery game right now, so like, but it's also a Yakuza game, which means the stupidest thing you could possibly come up with is actually probably what happened.
Mhm. Yeah.
So sorry, that's just where my mind went.
No, I love it. Greg Half invited B to a party, or invited May to a party, and asked me to go talk to B about it. This is a game that's on your laptop that I just felt like showing you. It's called Demon Tower. I love an arcade game inside of a game. That's just who I am.
I love arcade games within games.
Gameception.
Mostly just because been 1 minute since I've mentioned Yakuza, but Yakuza loves to do that because they're made by Sega, and Sega can just put Sega arcade games in their games.
You love to see it.
There's an achievement for the arcade game for the racing one in Yakuza 0 to get like 5 million points or something like that. And I'm really bad at that racing game, and I got to like 4,997,000 or something like that. I was so mad.
It sucks too because it takes a while to get that far in Outrun.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me it's gonna be tomorrow night. Fuck! Okay, we're speed running. No, we're not. Okay, I'll let you guys find it on your own. But that's kind of the end of my Night in the Woods talk. I know it's kind of short compared to y'all's, but that's kind of really all I wanted to talk about with the game. I think if that doesn't convince you to buy the game, maybe the fact that there's ghosts will.
Ooh. Me even more intrigued.
Also, cult stuff.
It's like Cult of the Lamb, but again.
You know what? I watched a Cult of the Land stream right before coming on Discord.
That's so funny.
And it's my first time watching a Cult of the Lamb stream, and I added it to my wish list as I was talking to you.
For as much as I've seen a Cult of a Lamb and like on Twitter and stuff, I have no idea what Cult of a Lamb is.
It's like a roguelike mixed with Animal Crossing.
But not as extensive as Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
You just described the game genre to me, and I still have no idea what Cult of a Lamb is about.
You got to
you're a little lamb, and you get sacrificed, and then a god is like, no, no, no. You are starting a cult in my name to free me, and in exchange, you come back to life. And then you start a cult.
I see.
And you gotta take care of your followers.
And
to,
your
like,
followers sometimes want to eat poop.
Yeah.
I just thought that was important to add on.
Your followers sometimes want you to make someone else eat poop.
Your followers sometimes want you to kill them. It's in ritual
I
You
sacrifice.
sometimes want to kill your followers.
So, the cult is a fetish thing, is what I'm hearing from you two.
For some, it seems.
Jeff, do you have something you want to tell us?
No?
I mean, you're the one
don't
that's saying that
know.
eating poop is apparently a fetish. I've never heard of that.
You're the
So
one bringing it up,
there-
Jeff. None of us brought that up.
There is a short list of reasons as for why someone would eat poop. And the
Maybe
nutritional
because
benefits are
They're
is
animals.
not
Yeah, you ever had a dog? So do you have like a concluding sentence to like wrap up all of your thoughts?
Yes, Night in the Woods is a phenomenal game. It's a wonderful exploration of self and others, and it's got one of the most beautiful depictions of mental illness, religion, and obsolescence that I've ever seen. I absolutely adore the way that the game deals with all these complex topics and still remains to be funny, visually stunning, and extremely replayable.
That was a really good elevator pitch. Like, if I wasn't sold on it already, I definitely am now.
I think everyone should play, and I think if you're gonna play it, you should play in October.
Spoopy season.
But yeah.
Nice.
If you get to the first dream sequence and you hate the game, if you finish the first dream sequence and you hate the game, I will personally Venmo you your money back.
That's just if anybody on YouTube stumbles across this video after I upload it, that's not for you. That's just for us here in the call.
Sorry, chat. Special friend privileges.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to pick up this game in the near future.
Great.
At least give it a shot, because admittedly, like, not that this is like a walking simulator, but just like games with those kinds of elements aren't always the most appealing to me, but I really dig the thematic elements that were discussed. And yeah, I think if I get it on
I think if you're gonna play any like quote unquote walking sim, it should be this one. But if you don't want to play any, then don't bother. But you can always play for 2 hours and return it if you don't like it. And you can always play until the first dream sequence and have me Venmo you.
Yeah, honestly, tempting offer. All right. Well,
Cool. I'm sorry if I didn't make any sense during that talk.
you
You
made
made
perfect
plenty of
sense.
sense.
You made a lot of sense.
Damn.
You even made some dollars.
Yeah.
Fuck,
But
dude.
I mean, if I don't
That's
like
how
the
much-
game
that's-
after the first dream sequence, then I'll be making those dollars.
No, you'll be breaking even on the dollars.
And I will be asking you if you can wait until I get paid.
Yeah. All right.
Colin's
Well,
going to be the one who makes sense with the AdSense, and by that I mean
the AdSense that I don't get.
Oh, you.
Me and my 19 YouTube subscribers.
I will watch the video, and you will maybe get paid 1 penny by YouTube.
All right. Well, I very much enjoyed this, but I'm gonna head to bed.
Okay, while we take
Okay.
a break, can I please talk to somebody about this Mario movie?
Yes, I did not see any of the stuff that they did today.
So basically, Chris Pratt is playing Mario, right?
Yes.
Right.
And he's no longer Italian.
Correct.
It's just Chris Pratt talking.
It's a very, very, very light New York accent.
I'm
honestly,
back.
Which that's
Like,
not the
sounded
kind
like
of
Chris Pratt.
Italian Mario is.
No, absolutely not.
I
it
would
was
just like
certainly jarring. I was expecting them to do like a half bad Italian accent, and then I just hear Chris Pratt talking, and I'm like, that's literally just Chris Pratt.
it's
And
Detective
besides-
Pikachu being like, "Hello, it is me, Ryan Reynolds."
Besides, like, if we all know that Mario isn't from New York, he's from fucking Chicago.
They had Jack Black Bowser have like a voice line, which
How
was
was
great.
that?
Well, like it started off, and I was like, okay, he's like doing well with his voice, and then like he kept talking, and I'm like, oh no, he lost it. He's just Jack Black.
No, I kind of messed with it. I was like, yo, I can
fuck with Jack
100%
Yeah.
see Jack Black as Bowser.
No, I don't think it was bad. I think that it was just funny how like when he first started talking in the trailer, like it sounded like he was doing an accent or like a Bowser voice, and then by the end he was like just talking like Jack Black.
You know what? Jack Black would have slayed Mario.
That's what he's
He would have
hoping for.
put his pussy into it, like he would have put
Yo.
his all.
You know
He
who
would have
had the
put his
best
whole
voice
Jack
actor?
Bussy into it.
Bro,
Oh
that-
god, oh no, downvote.
Sam,
Where's my downvote
Sam,
Upvote.
Sam, do you remember ASDF movies?
Hi,
button?
August.
Yeah.
Hi, August.
Hello.
That scene with the penguins is literally just the throw the cheese bit.
Yeah, but can I just say something? Can I say something?
No. Yes.
That king penguin, his voice actor went too hard on that role, bro. I heard that shit and I was like, okay, damn, these penguins on some Game of Thrones type shit.
Also, the stream's back up.